Writing is one of the most important inventions in human history. It allowed people to record their thoughts, communicate with each other, and preserve their knowledge and experiences for future generations. The development of writing systems was a pivotal moment in human history, marking the beginning of civilization and the rise of complex societies. One of the earliest writing systems in the world was cuneiform, which was developed by the ancient Sumerians in Mesopotamia around 4000 BCE. Cuneiform was a system of writing that used wedge-shaped marks pressed into clay tablets with a reed stylus. These tablets were then baked to harden the clay, preserving the writing for centuries or even millennia. The invention of cuneiform had a profound impact on the course of human history. It allowed the Sumerians to create records of their trade, legal contracts, and religious beliefs, as well as to write literature and poetry. Over time, other civilizations in Mesopotamia, including the Babylonians and the Assyrians, adopted cuneiform, and it became the dominant writing system in the region for over 3,000 years. The power of writing. The development of writing had a transformative impact on human society. It allowed people to communicate with each other across time and space, record their thoughts and ideas, and create a shared culture and history. Writing also allowed people to organize their societies more effectively, creating complex political systems and economies that relied on record-keeping and documentation. In the ancient world, writing was a powerful tool that was used to maintain social order and control. It allowed rulers to issue edicts and decrees, record taxes and tribute, and create laws and regulations. It also allowed religious leaders to record their beliefs and practices, creating a shared religious identity and culture. Cuneiform was particularly powerful because it allowed the Sumerians to create a written record of their beliefs and practices. They used cuneiform to write hymns and prayers to their gods, record their religious ceremonies and rituals, and create epic stories and myths. These writings formed the basis of Sumerian religion and culture, and were passed down from generation to generation. The power of documentation. One of the most important aspects of cuneiform was its ability to create a written record of events and transactions. This allowed the Sumerians to document their trade, legal contracts, and economic transactions, creating a more efficient and organized society. Cuneiform was used to record everything from the sale of land and houses to the exchange of goods and services. These records allowed the Sumerians to keep track of their assets and liabilities, and to resolve disputes when they arose. They also allowed for the creation of complex economic systems, including the use of credit and debt, and the development of markets and trade networks. The power of literature. Cuneiform was also used to create literature and poetry. The Sumerians wrote epic stories and myths that celebrated their heroes and gods, as well as love poems and laments that expressed the joys and sorrows of everyday life. These writings were not only entertaining, but also provided a shared cultural identity and a sense of belonging. One of the most famous works of Sumerian literature is the Epic of Gilgamesh, which tells the story of a legendary king who goes on a quest for immortality. The epic is considered one of the earliest works of literature in the world, and has inspired countless works of art and literature over the centuries. The power of education. Cuneiform also had a profound impact on education. The ability to read and write was highly valued in ancient Mesopotamia, and those who could read and write were highly respected and sought after. The Sumerians created schools where young boys were taught to read and write cuneiform. These schools were often attached to temples, and the curriculum included not only reading and writing, but also arithmetic, history, and religion. The goal of education was to train young men to become scribes, who would then serve as record keepers, administrators, and advisors to rulers and wealthy merchants. Education was not limited to boys, however. Some girls also received an education, particularly those from wealthy families. They were taught to read and write, as well as skills such as weaving and embroidery. The power of preservation. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of cuneiform was its ability to preserve knowledge and information over time. The clay tablets on which cuneiform was written were durable and long-lasting, and could survive for centuries or even millennia. As a result, the writings of the ancient Mesopotamians have survived to the present day, providing us with a wealth of information about their culture, religion, and way of life. These writings have allowed scholars to reconstruct the history of Mesopotamia, and to understand the origins of some of the key features of modern society, such as the use of writing, the development of law and government, and the rise of complex economies. Despite its impressive size and grandeur, the Temple of Abu Simbel was actually lost to history for centuries. The temple was abandoned sometime in the 6th century AD, and was eventually covered by sand and debris. It wasn't until the early 19th century that the temple was rediscovered by a team of European explorers, who were stunned by its size and beauty. The temple quickly became a popular destination for travelers and scholars, and remains one of the most visited sites in Egypt today.